Greetings everyone, welcome to Aipix podcast. Today we're diving into the key technology shaping the future of the internet and the whole world, IPv6. Here is also my co-host, Lado, Aipix Business Development Director. Joining our discussion today is Vahan Hovsepyan, Senior Community and Public Policy Advisor at RIPE NCC, an organization that stands at the forefront of IPv6 adoption. Vahan will uncover numerous facts, transitioning timelines, and regional aspects, especially in Central Asia, MENA, and Eastern Europe. Welcome, Vahan. We're really happy to have you here, and I guess we should kick this discussion off with the big picture. So, exactly when we talk about the speed of adoption, we can't skip the fact that there are a lot of external factors which may have a huge influence. So, what factors such as governmental regulations, economical incentives, or technological trends may accelerate the IPv6 adoption?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that depends. That really depends on the country, on the culture, on the business environment. Some countries use administrative means to regulate and push the deployment of IPv6. In their countries, some countries are using a soft power, requiring the providers to have IPv6 when they want to get a state contract or have a state scanning their networks. That's an example of some soft power. And some countries, as I mentioned, have also national strategies of the IPv6 implementation. In some of the countries, the governments, regulators, and industry leaders come together and discuss what they need to enhance this process. If there is possible to create tax benefits, as I mentioned, there are a lot of issues with funding. I think the first of all, they should understand the meaning of IPv6 in their future development. And coming to the technological trends, we can say that, for example, the deployment of 5G networks and IoT as well as AI now, this trending issue are one of the factors that also pushes the industry to utilize more internet resources. And the utilization of more internet resources also requires the deployment of latest technological standards like IPv6. And there is also after that there is also need to also take care of the security of networks, and that is why we also trying to push the deployment of RPI as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We know that in such a huge and difficult process, we can't also skip the fact that the role of major tech companies, players. So what role do they play, to be more specific, like major technological companies and cloud providers in promoting IPv6 adoption?
Their role is really, really significant. As we see the companies like Amazon, Google, Cloudflare, AKMA, as well as Microsoft or other, have already enabled IPv6 in their systems. So this is stimulating really great local operators to use IPv6, as well as in the past there were a lot of problems with the content that was supported by IPv6. So operators were asking why we need to just enable IPv6. There's a lot of resources to enable IPv6 when there is no content. Now the content is there. Another question is the support of all parts of the operations relevant to IPv6 adoption, such as mentioned billing or security systems. We see a lot of issues with them in Central Asia or in these developing countries because of the out uh, of, of the systems that are not compatible with the IPv6, and relevant IPv6 adoption by these systems, security and billing systems, can help a lot. In this case, we still see some problems, but there is a clear understanding that such solutions uh, that don't support IPv6 deployment are already outdated and should be modified. Otherwise, they will be kicked off the market. So I hope vendors are also understanding this already, this trend, and will appropriate, will make great solutions on that everywhere, including Central Asia and Caucasus and the Middle East and these developing regions.
What are RIPE's forecast for the complete transition from IPv4 to IPv6?
Well, some people say that we need to have this 100% of IPv6, but it is not real. Actually, we don't anticipate to have a full transition from IPv6 from IPv4 to IPv6 in the nearest future. Countries and networks will still use the IPv4 to ensure that all resources are available. Well, however, deployment of IPv6 create, and we know that enormous possibility for future development and deployment of networks and associated services. So, as the answer to your question, we don't anticipate a 100% of transition to IPv6 in the nearest future.
But we speak about such regions like MENA, Central Asia, or Eastern Europe. So, how do you see the focus change in these regions where infrastructure and budgets are so different?
We already see some developments there. We see that these countries are registering quite a good growth in the IPv6, but we should also understand that there are certain challenges in Central Asia or in the Middle East or in these developing regions connected with the successful transition to IPv6. We should mention among them the old equipment that doesn't support IPv6, and it is especially real when we have the case of large operators, let's say monopoly operators that have already disseminated a large number of the equipment uh, that is based on customer size, and it is quite difficult, and it requires a lot of funding to change it. That also we can also mention, for example, the billing system, security systems that need to be adjusted to comply with IPv6. But we see challenge there, but there is also the development in this field. You see, for example, growth of IPv6 in Uzbekistan or in Kazakhstan. You can see that providers are going deeper and deeper to this path, and they are also putting it in the strategies of their companies, and in some cases they want to put it in the strategies of the digital development of the country, because these new standards of development of telecommunication development just supporting their global digital development, because we can understand really clearly that without good telecommunication and network, without good telecommunication infrastructure, we can have, well, no respective growth in digital development.
What about RIPE NCC itself? What initiatives from RIPE could help operators to speed up the transition?
Well, in the case of RIPE NCC, we have a lot of initiatives. And that is our objective, to support the networks. Even in the name of RIPE NCC, it is mentioned that we are a network coordination center, and this is one of the main roles we have. So if we talk about the initiatives that we are empowering the stakeholders in this process. We work with the governments and regulators so they can understand the importance of this transition. without the support of governments and regulators, understanding of nuances of IPv6 implementation, it's very difficult for operators to implement it, especially in our region, where the role of the governments are enormous. We provide relevant information about IPv6 implementation, challenges, and opportunities at network operator groups events that we also support. We use the instruments such as RIPE Atlas system to analyze the deployment of IPv6 and provide it in the form of presentations at our meetings with the industry and public policy bodies that are in fact governments and the regulators. And finally, we use the instrument such as trainings, webinars, as well as certification for industry professionals that need an in-depth knowledge and understanding of IPv6 and IPv6 security. So because to implement the IPv6, you need to understand what is it and how to implement it. What is important also to say is that our trainings and webinars are completely free of charge for our members, and we also provide affordable conditions for our community to take certified professional exam that can be used for their future workforce or strengthen their future career. And of course, the core of what we do to speed up the transition is the provision of IPv6 itself to our members. So RIPE NCC is the source of the IPv4 provision and IPv6 provision in the region yet.
Can we a bit dive into my favorite regions like Central Asia and MENA? So when we speak about the RIPE initiatives, do you have special initiatives for these regions? And you mentioned that it's very important to have support from governments. So do you have any successful cases, I mean, how governments in these regions support in this way?
Yes, I have already mentioned the creation of IPv6 councils, where the main role is played by the governments. So in Uzbekistan and in Kazakhstan, there are already IPv6 councils where the head of the IPv6 council is a deputy minister, I believe, and other industry organizations are also supporting these activities. For Uzbekistan, we have also created an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, where we have put different activities to support technological and telecommunication development, including the raise of IPv6. And based on this MOU, we have implemented also several activities, such as we have created an action plan of the development of IPv6 and capacity building with one of the monopoly operators, that was the Uzbek Telecom. We have made a lot of trainings for them and for the leading mobile operators, just tailored trainings. We have made the inventory of what they have. We have advised them what they can do to improve the situation. And that was a special activity with Uzbekistan. We have already drafted an MOU with Kyrgyz Telecom and the Kyrgyz Ministry, and we hope it will be signed very soon. We have joined the IPv6 Council of Kazakhstan, and we are going to deploy another MOU with them as well, so we can provide the dedicated resources there. But we don't work only for Central Asia or the Caucasus. Yeah, and in Caucasus we have the MOU with Georgian regulator, GNCC, where we have also these activities, and we are also providing additional support to them as well. But we are not limited with these regions. We do a lot in the Middle East as well, where we have also joined the IPv6 Council. We have activities with ITU, with other stakeholders, industrial stakeholders there, like ITU, ISOC, ICANN, and recently we have even went to Moldova, and one of the activities we will do there is in June, where we'll have RIPE NCC days. Another instrument we have to work with the governments and the companies is to introduce them the inventory and the current state of the telecommunication development, and what they can do with this is the IMD, Internet Measurement Day, that we have initiated together with ICANN. So at these IMDs, we just provide them the understanding of the instruments, internet measurements instruments that they can also use to measure the development of their networks, to measure the development of IPv6, and to understand what are these narrow points that they should put their attention to so they can have the success.
We can say for sure that like IPv6 adoption like isn't only about like the shift from the older technology to a new one. So for some of the companies, for the regions, it may be the technology. It can be the technology that shape the future. And with that in mind, how do you see the evolution of the the internet infrastructure after widespread IPv6 adoption?
It's also quite an interesting question, because as we have talked about already, it is, well, IPv6 deployment is not, we don't follow that as the deployment of IPv6 itself, let's say. The IPv6 will help the countries to have the competitive advantage in their digital developments in this growing technological evolution or even revolution, let's say. So after the deployment of IPv6, we will have more layers of other services like SR6, SR version 6. That is a service that can provide more benefits for others. So states can be also instrumental to create economic incentives or support to finance this transaction, of course, but some companies that still have huge IPv4 allocations, IPv4 addresses, like legacy holders, can create another incentives to use them in the future. IoT can be also developed a lot based on the features of IPv6 adoption in their countries. We will see a lot, because this is the base. IPv6 deployment is the base of the telecommunication future development in their countries. It can be a lot of possibilities, creation of a lot of let's say opportunities for others, for software companies to deploy to develop their products based on that. It can be IPv6 based services that, as I mentioned, for example, SR version 6, but we will have a lot of new services after we have broader IPv6 adoption in this world and in our countries.
Also, what do you think if IPv6 can make the internet less centralized, especially if we speak about make better traffic management or either peer-to-peer networks or something like that?
It can somehow help internet be less centralized, but actually internet is already not centralized. But it can be even less centralized, because now providers use the equipment that allow them to share one IPv4 address to a number of customers. Like one IPv4 address can be used for, I don't know, in some cases it is 40 customers, in some cases it is 60, in some cases it can be 100 plus customers that have one shared IPv4 address. With IPv6 adoption, you can provide one IPv6 to each and every customer, and even to each and every device that this customer has. So it will be, let's say, less centralized, less equipment will be used to divide these IPv4 resources to others. So in that mean, it can be less centralized, but as I mentioned already, the nature of internet is the decentralization. And that is another discussion, of course, that is now very proactively discussed at WSIS plus 20, at Digital Global Compact, etc. So this year we have a lot of activities in this dimension and a lot of discussions, but we try to stay really neutral, because this IPv6 deployment is a technical thing that will support the deployment of networks without any, let's say, action in the political or policy level. This is pure technical issue that can help each and every government, each and every state, each and every provider to be more effective, to have better services, and to be competitive in the digital world.
So you've mentioned like service development, opportunities, infrastructure development opportunities, but also when we talk about innovations in future, there are some smart cities. Now they're like widespread trend in each region. So can they be like catalyst for the IPv6 adoption?
If a country wants to be successful in this era of digitalization, they should enforce it by an equivalent development of the networks that can support their efforts. If we want to have the telemedicine services, for example, the smart cities, IoT networks, 5G coverage, if you want to have the satellite communication, resilient and redundant connectivity, we need to have an appropriate development in the telecommunication field. That is one of the fundamentals of this development. Some countries, as mentioned, already put it in their objectives in digital agenda or digitalization strategies. Some consider it in the action plans, but not many, let's say, governments or regulators still understand that when they start to put the strategies for digital development, this is also a part of this digital development that should be done before they enable the telemedicine services, for example. This telemedicine, these digital services cannot be provided sufficiently and in a good quality if you don't have this IPv6 deployment. That is the case. And we cannot, it is really critical to understand that the development of smart cities, it cannot be done without the development of IPv6 in this country. Let's imagine, for example, all these lights and all these infrastructures that should be deployed. They will require enormous internet resources, and we don't have this number of IPv4 to support these developments. We need to deploy this IPv6 to be successful there.
So I guess we should move closer maybe to some case studies like of RIPE NCC. So mostly now we're interested in the regions of Central Asia or Middle East. Some interesting details. You already mentioned some cases, but maybe some interesting details or more cases which you would like to mention.
Yeah, well, one of our flagmanship, let's say, activities in the Central Asia is the creation of this Central Asia Peering and Interconnection Forum. That is the event that is called to help providers in the Central Asia, the countries of Central Asia and neighboring countries, by the way, to have better peering and better interconnection. and including the better adoption of IPv6. Why we did it? Because the Central Asia is a landlocked region. And it is really difficult for them to have the redundant internet connection to the rest of the world because of many reasons, of geopolitical reasons, of historical reasons, of telecommunication development in the region. And that is why they are also proactively now searching the alternatives, and we do support these efforts because more alternatives the region has, it is better. And we have started it several years ago in Kazakhstan, and this year we're going back to Kazakhstan, and we're supporting the providers and the key stakeholders from the region and around that to come to CAPIV and to discuss the ways they can cooperate to boost this international connectivity and appearing in their regions. We support also IXPs there as well. We have, in fact, a lot of internet providers, and the main internet providers from the region are coming to CAPIV, and we were happy also to collaborate with a lot of sponsors that were interested to support the event, including our good friends from Aipix. And this CAPIV is one of the instruments we do these activities in the Central Asia, but we also engage there not only Central Asian countries. We have there the participants from Russia, from Ukraine, from Caucasus, Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan. We have a number of participants from Iran, because Iran is one of the key countries that can help to promote the internet connectivity in this part of the world. And another thing that we do is the support to network operator groups events. And one of the most successful network operators groups we have in the region, and maybe in RIPE NCC region itself, is Kazakhstan Network Operators Group, that is very proactively working, and they are communicating quite proactively also in Telegram. And a few years ago, they have created an event, Kazakhstan Network Operators Group Conference. We are supporting them as well. They are discussing different issues and difficult issues. They are engaging the state bodies, and we are also discussing the IPv6 deployment as well there as well. We are supporting also the other organizations in their let's say activities in the region. Should it be, for example, the IXP forum in Bishkek, or IXP activity in Tajikistan or Uzbekistan, whatever activity the technical community have, we can support them, and we are asking them again and again and again, if you have any ideas how we or our partners can support you, because if we don't have the mandate for that activity, definitely one of our partners, should it be ICANN, ISOC, or for example ITU, RSS, they can be supportive, and we are in close contact with them to support the technical community in the region, to support governments in the region, and to have better telecommunication in the region, should it be Central Asia or any part of RIPE NCC service region that is covering really huge, let's say, continent. It is Europe, it is Central Asia, it is Caucasus, it is Middle East, it is Russia. So all these parts of our service region need our attention, and we're happy to provide this support to them.
So we discussed opportunities like the present, but so it's not really pleasant thing to mention, but there are some obstacles on the way of the transition. So what do you consider to be like the most outstanding ones, outstanding challenges in this process, in this way, on this way?
Yeah, the most challenges is In fact, that there is a combination of these factors. States can be very supportive and instrumental to create economic incentives or support access to finance to run the transition. Because one of the challenges is finance and need of additional investments to the telecommunication infrastructure to change this outdated equipment. And of course, there is a shortage of specialists, shortage of knowledge, and here is also space we can contribute more. Also, some companies still have a huge allocation of IPv4 addresses, including legacy holders. That creates a sense that they may use these resources for their future development. But as we see new technologies such as SR6, digital efforts of governments require new standards to be applied. And I would say that the lack of knowledge maybe is one of the most important things that hinder their efforts to go ahead. Obsolete equipment that doesn't support IPv6, well, this is a matter of investment and time, but it is the path to development, let's say. If there is also this support and understanding from the state, they can start to make the financial planning to solve this issue. It can be also solved by the negotiations with the vendors to ensure that all, well, at least upcoming equipment and solutions are already compatible with IPv6, so they can start the process of transition to IPv6.
So you've mentioned the lack of knowledge, and also previously you mentioned that RIPE NCC provides some programs for operators, and what are the rest of the programs and initiatives provided by RIPE NCC, like financial, technical support, training programs, labs, test environments, and so on, any that can be mentioned?
Thank you. So, as you know, RIPE NCC is a membership-based organization, but it is also a secretariat of RIPE community that is much more larger than the RIPE NCC members. RIPE community is a community of people that are interested in technical development of internet. So we support both our members as RIPE NCC and RIPE community to understand more about technical development of internet, to understand more about internet, etc. So we do provide a lot of, let's say, support both to our members and RIPE community. One of our roles is, as I mentioned, also even present in our name, we are Network Coordination Center. So in this role, we do support local and regional network operator groups, organize regional event, as mentioned. That was one of this mentioned was CAP, Central Asia Peering and Interconnection Forum, but we have also Middle East Network Operators Group, MINOG. We have Southeast Europe activity. We have also RIPE NCC days. We have this Internet Measurement Day together with ICANN. We have a special platform that is called RIPE Labs, where a number of researches and articles can be found covering topics of industry development and challenges, including the deployment of IPv6. This role also helps us to coordinate networks in their communication with each other and other stakeholders, including state bodies and international organizations. In 2024, we are also planning to continue our support to network operator groups and prepare even more localized researches to be presented during our meetings. We are planning to enhance the cooperation with state bodies and nationwide upstream providers, consider the organization of IMD in Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, the Middle East, Eastern or Central Europe, organize certified professionals exam in Moldova. That is one of our plans. And during RIPE NCC days, it will be in June. And Kazakhstan during CIP4, and also deliver the trainings that will build the capacity or enhance the capacity of telecom professionals in Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Georgia, Uzbekistan, and Moldova. And we are also providing the support to the internet governance forums, both national and regional. We have one regional internet governance forum in our region that is called Central Asia Regional Governance Forum. That will be also in April in Uzbekistan, I guess. So a lot of activities that we should deliver to have the success from our telecom providers and from our community in this region.
So thank you so much for sharing and joining us. So you've mentioned a lot of things, like such a precious information for the audience, and maybe you have some final thoughts to share, like anything you would like to mention or say, anything.
Yeah. Well, I always, when we make another activity such as information sessions, I do some information sessions for students, for government representatives, for other stakeholders, so they can understand the future of internet development. And when I talk to them, I say them, look, we don't anticipate the digital era to come. We already live in this digital era. And this is the industrial revolution, new industrial revolution that will change everything. And in some cases, they don't understand that. And I say, go to the history and see what challenges we happened to see during our previous industrial revolutions. So they have changed everything: the government, the society, the way people interact with each other. Everything will be changed. A lot of people will lose their jobs and a lot of new technologies will come. And these last 2 years, it is the same, let's say, challenges with AI. So a lot of people also discuss what will happen. So my call will be just to understand how you can be successful and not to be failed in this new digital era. For that, we need to have fundamental knowledge that can be really fastly changed to another priorities, but we should have the basis of the infrastructure, the basis of the skills that can allow us to work in this way. And it will be a call to the governments, to the technical operators, to the students, to everybody, that we should be ready for these drastic technological shifts that is already affecting our life. Should it be war, life, love, and everything.